Hello students, I'm Himani Sharma, your UGC NET Paper 1 educator. In this new YouTube video for the lecture plan, the last lab, the 30-day program that I have for you, we have brought certain new PYQs with certain new concepts which are important from the examination point of view, and you all to revise the concepts which you all have, prepared while you were preparing, making notes, etc. for your UGC NET examination. Right? So as I tell you, the first of all, I am going to talk about ICT and its important concepts which are there. Correct? But how am I going to deal with the concepts is through the usage of PYQs, or what we call the previous year questions. So as you know, the previous year questions hold a really significant place when it comes to the UGC NET examination, so that person can know the pattern of questions what is asked in the examination. Right? So first question that I have for you in today's video is, when a computer is switched on, the BIOS is loaded from. The answer to this question is option C, which is ROM. First of all, wherever you are making notes, if you are making any and you're jotting down the abbreviations, it is my suggestion that if you see any abbreviations in the video lectures that we have brought forth for you, try to jot those abbreviations by the unit names. For instance, this is the ICT part. So write this abbreviation, the full form of this abbreviation, basic input output system. First of all, what is it? When the computer is turned on, when you switch on the computer, basically, there are certain programs which get loaded on the microprocessor. That is where the BIOS comes into play. Correct? So it is a microprocessor, it is a chip which is used to start the computer and load the functions which are there, load the applications, right? Manages data flow between the computer's operating system. For instance, we have Windows and the other devices which are attached to the Windows or the operating system. For instance, the hard disk which is there, the video adapter, the keyboard, mouse, etc. How they are going to be the ones which will be functioning along with the computer system. That is what the basic input output system is done, and that is loaded from the ROM. What is the full form of ROM now? Read-only memory is a type of non-volatile memory. We in the previous videos have talked about RAM being a volatile memory, which means that RAM is a temporary memory, whereas ROM is a permanent memory. So basically, non-volatile means permanent memory. Correct? Used in the computers and other electronic devices. Data stored in ROM cannot be electronically modified after the manufacturer of the memory device. So basically, if the manufacturer has given certain kind of coding that this program is going to work like this only, you cannot change, because the name only suggests that it is read-only memory. You cannot alter the data, you cannot modify the data. It is a volatile memory, right? Is it a RAM, if we talk about, is a volatile, that is a temporary memory, correct? That temporarily stores the file while you are working on. And ROM is a non-volatile memory, if we compare RAM and ROM, that permanently stores instructions for your computers. So basically, if you are using the mouse, if you are putting it on a particular application, that is a coding which has been given by the manufacturer, and that cannot be changed. The properties cannot be changed. It's used to store the startup instruction for a computer, also known as firmware. So basically, this has been a simplest question, a different question which has been asked in the examination, which was like, what kind of memory holds the computer's startup routine? It is ROM, right? Most modern computers use flash-based ROM. It's part of the BIOS chip, that is the microprocessor which is there, which is located on the motherboard, correct? So ROM is also situated on the BIOS and the motherboard which is there. It provides permanent storage for instructions needed during bootstrapping or the process of turning on the computer. So basically, when we want to start the computer, the startup routine is one which is there with the ROM part, correct? That you are going to press a switch and the computer will turn on, it will load certain programs, and that is the only thing which you are going to do time and again. Those instructions are saved by the computer, right, by the manufacturer. That is when a computer is switched on. It is the BIOS that is there, basic input output system, which gets loaded from RAM and the computer starts. correct? Then I have another question, which is a statement based question. USB drives are also known as flash drives. Statement 2 on the other hand says the device used by banks to automatically read those unusual numbers on the bottom of checks and deposit slips is known as MICR. So pause your screens and answer this question. The answer to this question is option A, which says that both these statements are correct, right? So first of all, USB, the full form of USB is Universal Serial Bus, correct? USB flash drive is a device used for data storage that includes flash memory and an integrated USB interface. So basically USB drive, you have USB ports in your laptops as well. So pen drive can be taken up as an example of a USB. Correct? Most USB flash drives are removable and rewritable. So using the pen drive, you can take certain images from your laptop and transfer them in some other laptop or computer. Correct? And even if you have taken them from some other person as well, you can transfer them on your own computer through the usage of the USB. Physically, they are small, durable and reliable. Correct? The larger their storage space, the faster they tend to operate. So 16 GB pen drive, right, 32 GB pen drive, etc. The larger the space, the faster they operate. USB flash drives are mechanically very robust because there are no moving parts which are there. So they are firm, they are stable, they are placed like that and they are switched on, they are plugged into your computer systems to get the data out of there for the storage part. They derive the power to operate from the device to which they are connected. So basically when you connect a USB device with your laptop, what happens that the laptop is the one which is giving it the power and it shows that yes, it is connected. What kind of data do you want to transfer? Do you want to transfer only the images, the music or all types of files which are there? Right? You must have seen this kind of dialog box appearing when you plug in the pen drive. It may also be known as a flash drive, USB drive, USB stick, USB thumb drive or pen drive. So this is what I already have told you, hence statement 1 is correct or true. Statement 2 says device used by banks reads certain things which are in the form of, which are used with the form of MICR. So basically full form of MICR is magnetic ink character recognition. So if you would have seen the check, right, you would have seen that on the bottom of the checks there are certain kind of numbers which are written which are different from the normal writing that we do, even from the normal computer forms. Correct? Is a string of characters at the bottom left of the personal check that includes the account, routing and check numbers which are there. Correct? So through the MICR the checks get read. These numbers are designed to be readable by both individuals and the sorting equipment. So if there is certain kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 which is written, right, obviously it is readable by the humans as well. But if there is a sorting equipment which is going to pass the check, right, which is going to read the check, it can be read by them as well, the device as well. They can't be faked or copied due to the use of magnetic ink and unique fonts. These fonts, the way I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4 are not the kind of fonts there are used, right? You can also see the checkbook if you have yours to see that what kind of characters am I talking about. Because of the fact that these characters are in a different or a unique font, these cannot be faked, and because of the ink as well. The benefits of the technology include enhanced security against fraud and mechanization of check processing. So basically, because magnetic ink is used and a unique font is being used, one cannot fake it, hence increasing its authenticity and reliability which is there. MICR was developed in the late 1950s and now is used globally. So every check has this kind of font. That's why statement 2 is also true or correct. Hence both the statements are correct. Then we have next question again in the form of a statement base. Statement 1 says GPS is used to determine the exact location of a vehicle or other forms of transport. Statement 2 on the other hand says GPS systems are not safer since the drivers have to consult maps. So try or take your time and try to find out what the answer would be to this very question. The answer to this question is option D, which says statement 1 is true, whereas statement 2 is false. Correct? This is the answer. Now let's just read the explanation that I have for you here. First of all, jot down the full form of GPS, that is Global Positioning System. Very important if you ask from the examination point of view, because they can ask you the abbreviations which are there. Correct? And it lets us know where we are and where we are going anywhere on the earth. So basically you must know that GPS systems, right? We have even in our Ubers, on the Olas, in driver, etc. They use the, the GPS systems to let the driver know that where the location is, where the passenger wants to go. So statement 1, GPS is used to determine the exact location of a vehicle or other forms of transport. Yes, it is true, because the GPS originally was Navstar GPS. What is it? It is a satellite based radio navigation system. So in the previous times, people used to have compass, which was used for the direction purposes. And with the advent of technology, with the boost in the technology part, from the compass, the humans have moved to GPS, which is a technology based satellite, which is radio navigation, through which radio navigation is done. And the people are known that where you are supposed to take left, right, you are supposed to move forward, right? Owned by the US government and operated by the US States Space Force. So basically it was developed by the US, right? The capabilities of today's system render other well-known navigation and positioning technologies, namely the magnetic compass that I already talked to you about, the sextant which used to be there, the chronometer, radio-based devices which were impractical in today's time and which are obsolete, which means which are out of fashion. Correct? It is used to support a broad range of military, commercial and consumer applications. So military people can also use it. It can also be used commercially, and consumers, for instance, like people like us who are normal, using it for normal day-to-day life, they can also use it for their own benefits to know where they are heading, where they are currently. Correct? So statement 1 is true. Statement 2 says these systems are not safer since the drivers have to consult map. So this is the usage of not here makes this statement false. If it would have been GPS systems are safer since the drivers have to consult maps, it means that you are going to land to the right place if the drivers are consulting the maps. Then it would have been correct, but with the usage of not, this statement is incorrect. Correct? GPS is a radio navigation system that allows land, sea, airborne users to determine their exact location, velocity and time, which is 24 hours a day in all the weather conditions which are there. If the receiver is also equipped with a display screen that shows a map, the position can be shown on the map that where am I going. Correct? So statement 2 is false because of the fact that yes, drivers can use it for what? For because of the safety purposes as well. Correct? Because the drivers have to consult it. Next question that I have for you is, which statement is not true for the USB, that is Universal Serial Bus? We have had a different question which was related to USB, right? But what is the statement which is not correct here? Is it a device? Because devices plugged into the computer are automatically detected. Is it correct or incorrect? Is it a synchronous serial data transmission method? It is a 4-wire shielded cable, or several different data transmission rates are supported. So you can pause your screens here to know what the answer is, right? To mark your answer and then play the video to see if the answer was correct. The answer to this question is option B, which is it is a synchronous serial data transmission method. First of all, let's just read the explanation as to see, and mark my word, see the questions carefully for these kind of words only, because these can make or break your scores for the examination part. Sorry. Coming to the USB definition, is a common computer port which is shortened for Universal Serial Bus and allows communication between a computer and peripheral or other devices, right? So what is a Universal Serial Bus? Plug and play interface. So you plug a pen drive and then you play and you move or copies files from the computer to your pen drive, and then from your pen drive you can place it somewhere else, right? It allows the computer to communicate with peripheral and other devices, hence obviously it is a plug and play device. USB connected devices cover a broad range. Anything from keyboards and mice to music players and flash drives, anything can be, used with the help of USB, because of the fact that you have a keyboard which has the USB port. You must have seen a wired keyboard which can be connected to your laptop, which has a USB port through which if you plug in the keyboard, that can be used, correct? Same is the case with certain music players which have USB ports with their wires, and you can plug them in your laptop and can use them to play music. The USB cable provides 4 pathways which are there. 2 power conductors and 2 twisted signal conductors. So yes, it is a 4-wire shielded cable. So these 3 options are correct. It is intended to allow hot swapping and enhance plug and play without having to restart the computer. Plug and play makes it capable of operating the system to involuntarily discover and configure. So basically, if you plug in a USB device, for instance, as I told you, if you plug in a pen drive, it asks you, do you want to transfer files? Do you want to transfer only the images and the videos which are there? Correct? So you are the one who choose that, and you need not to restart the computer there. USB, it can have synchronous and asynchronous data transmission. So what can happen there? If you ask me, if we are taking just the example of pen drives here, right? And I have plugged in a pen drive for 4 hours there in my PC, and I have not placed the data, moved the data from my pen drive to my computer. That means asynchronous thing is happening, right? That I want to place it some point of time. Synchronous is in a sync, that I want now only to place the data that I have in my PC to the pen drive. USB offers several different data transmission rates, and for example, USB version 1 offers 2 types of speeds that work best for slow input output devices. So if you see IO written in the question paper, it just means input output devices, right? The speeds are 1.5 Mbps and 12 Mbps. So 2 types of versions are, 2 types of speeds are there under version 1 of the USB. So it is not just a synchronous serial data transmission, it is synchronous or asynchronous. So no one part is there. So the other options, obviously, if the question was asked not true, so we are going to choose this because it is amalgamation of synchronous and asynchronous data transmission. Correct? That's why it was incorrect. Then we have the next question for today, that is, which statement is again not true for QR codes? So if you are making notes, my dear students, I time and again would want you to jot down the full form of the abbreviation. So QR, which we generally scan these days for UPI payments, etc., those are known as quick response codes, because the codes respond to your camera easily and the transmission of the money happens there and then. So not the right statement here. QR codes can be scanned everywhere. QR codes can store website addresses. QR codes cannot hold digits, or there is no need for the user to write down or key in a website address. The answer to this question is option C, which says it cannot hold digits. Yes, it can hold digits. A QR code can hold digits. It can be scanned anywhere, right? You can go anywhere and you can scan the QR code, right? If you are supposed to make a payment or for any other part. Can store website addresses. You all must have seen that, if some of you must have visited McDonald's, right? They have a QR code on every table, and from there you can go to their website and order for yourself sitting on the table only. Correct? There is no need for the user to write down or key in a website address. Obviously, you need not to write down certain things. You need not jot down the QR code. Correct? So, first of all, what is a QR code? Two-dimensional version of the barcode. So it is a subdivision, we can say, of a barcode, right? Typically made up of black and white pixels which are there. It was invented in the year 1994 by the Japanese automotive company Denso. wave, just certain kind of factual information which might be asked in the question paper, because you would never know what kind of questions will they ask. Can encode numerals, alphabetical characters, symbols, binary data, that is zeros and ones, correct? Control codes and other kind of data. So it can be used to store any kind of or scan any kind of data which is there, teaching from numericals to alphabets, even to the binary part. There is no need, as I told you, for user to write down anything which is related to the QR code. The data stored in a QR code can include website URLs, as we told, phone numbers, because you scan sometimes, right, and you make a UPI payment to a particular phone number, or you can even see that a merchant, right, lets you, for a company background, they ask you to make a payment on the company's name. That can also be done using the QR code. Can store about 7,000 digits or around 4,000 characters, including punctuation and special characters. So obviously it means that it can store the data which holds digits which are there, right? Can be read at high speed regardless of the scanning angle, can be scanned anywhere and everywhere, right? The data which is there is in the transferred and longitudinal, right, longitudinal directions. So you see, if you would have seen the QR code, it is it is in the square form basically, right? So a barcode is rectangular in nature, but a QR code takes lesser space as compared to a barcode, correct, and taking approximately 10 times less space than a traditional barcode, and hence people are using it nowadays. And also, as it can hold on to 7,000 digits or 4,000 characters, it means it can hold digits as well. The next question is, which one of the following is a disadvantage of using proprietary software rather than an open source software? The answer to this question is option D, which says proprietary software is usually more expensive. So we have two types of softwares when it comes to the coding part. One is an open source software, the other one is the proprietary software. Let's just see here. Software whose source code is freely distributed with a license to study, change, and further distribute to anyone for any purpose is called open source software. So basically, any software which any person can change. The coding is available to anyone and everyone, and they can change, modify, and then give the code to some other person as well, is known as open source software. Whereas the ones which can be used by obtaining a license from its developer after paying. Here you are going to get a license, right? But you have not made any payment, hence it is free. Proprietary software, on the other hand, is paid, right? So you need to pay for the proprietary software's access, right? Proprietary software now, because the answer was this, and we are going to discuss this in detail. It is a computer software where the source codes are publicly not available. Very important point. Source codes not available publicly, and a person, if they want the source code, they will have to pay the company or the developer, whosoever has created that very program or the software. Here the software is developed, tested by the individual or the organization which is owned not by the public. So open source software is owned by the public, but a proprietary software is not, correct? The source code is protected, hence it is not freely available to everyone, right? Users need to have a valid and an authenticated license to use this software, correct? So basically anything and everything which is authentic, paid, right, for a particular amount, that is a software which is proprietary. Vendors tend to limit the number of computers on which their software can be used by using product activation, a product key, or a serial number, or copy protection. You must have seen, if some of you get Microsoft original or installed on your computers, you all are provided with a product key which is there, right, which needs to be updated with time if the software runs out of updation. Also, if we talk about anything, if we talk about study.com, or even if you talk about the Drishti platform or the Drishti application, On the Drishti application, the students who have enrolled in the course for UGC NET JRF, they are the ones who are getting the access to that very course, right? Not everyone. So that is not open for everyone. Users must have to pay to get the proprietary software. Some of the examples for the proprietary software are Windows, right? If you install the original Windows, Mac operating system, Internet Explorer, Google Earth, Microsoft Office, Adobe Flash Player, etc. Right? So you have to pay for these softwares, the original installation. Mind you, the original installation, for that you have to pay. Hence, these are known as the proprietary softwares. So they are expensive, and that is the disadvantage that we have here. Then we have list 1, that is the digital initiatives which are there and their purpose. So pause your screens a little bit more to read out what would be the answer, what would be the correct answer here. The answer to this question is option D. A 4, B 3, C 1 and D 2. So I hope you guys now must have learned this very thing by heart when we talk about the e-Yantra portal, which is there to support the robotics in India, the robotics experimentation in India. Let's just read what we have the explanation here for different kinds of courses that we asked in the question. First is Swayam. Study webs of active learning for young aspiring minds, right, has been asked in the question multiple times, in the examination multiple times. Initiated by the Government of India, designed by the 3 cardinal principles of education policy, which are access, equity and quality. So, Swayam have these 3 principles in minds, and through the imparting of knowledge which is done for the quality education purposes, correct? The objective is to take the best teaching learning resources to all, including the most disadvantaged. So, through this platform, the people who do not have access to resources or education, they can get access for it to free, correct? The adaptive tutorials in Swayam are designed to offer a personalized learning experience for every student. The pace is designed by them, hence the experience is also personalized according to a particular student's need. Then we have spoken tutorial, which was there in the question, correct? Second one stands the spoken tutorial is an educational content portal that promotes IT skills through various free and open source software all by themselves. So basically developing IT skills is done by the spoken tutorial, correct? And comment down below if you can let me know that what is the body, which is a governing body which holds the implementation of this very program named as a spoken tutorial, correct? It includes engaging digital content to ensure that learning happens at all levels from basic to the advanced, right? So we are not left with anything which has been from the basics. Obviously, for instance, if you learn anything, you need to first of all know, if you are learning words, right, cat, bat, mat, etc. First of all, you need to learn the alphabets, correct? So from the basics to the advanced levels, even from cat, bat, mat, now you are making the words such as content portal with the usage of different kinds of alphabets which are there. End of course online tests and certificates are available for those who wish to test their expertise in a particular software. So to develop the IT skills, spoken tutorial is the one which has been there, correct? E-Granthalaya, Granthalaya, which means a developer, center which is for the library part, correct? The governmental libraries which are available electronically, correct? So email, it means electronic mail. E-Granthalaya, obviously it means electronic Granthalaya, which is available on the e-platform. Digital platform developed by National Informatics Center, an important point to note, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, which is known as MIIT, MIIT, right? Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India for government libraries. Then we have provides a complete ICT solution with integrated library management. So here you can find out multiple books, journals, etc., articles, etc. It transforms traditional libraries to e-library with digital library services like automation of in-house activities of libraries, digital library integration. So multiple sources, multiple things which are available through the resources when it comes to the library part is associated with what? The e-Granthalaya, correct? The next question, the next statement that we have to hear, that scheme that we have here is e-Yantra. I have emphasized a lot, and a question has been asked about that what kind of government scheme was there, right, which focuses on the robotics, correct, robotics education. So e-Yantra is the one, and the e-Yantra lab setup initiative is known as ELSI, is a college level program under which colleges are encouraged to set up robotics labs. So these are different labs than the virtual labs. In the virtual labs, remote experimentations happen, correct? Any kind of experimentation. So this is also an initiative which has been taken. But yes, to memorize this very thing, that if we talk about the yantra, that is related just to the robotics part. E-Yantra robotics competition also happens, is a unique annual competition launched in August every year for undergrad students in science and engineering colleges and polytechnic colleges as well. So basically, every year, every college which is undergrad students, they participate in certain kinds of competition and build their own robotics, robots, etc. to show their skills and show their levels of IT skills which are there. Hence, this is the program which is there. Selected teams are given a robotic kit complete with accessories and video tutorials to help them learn basic concepts in embedded systems and microcontroller programming. So basically, all the things are provided regarding the robotics which are needed by students, so that they do not lack on certain things, and hence they participate in the competition, they participate for the robotics study, correct? Then we have the last question for today, which is MookIT Platform uses Dash as an open source content management system. You can pause your screens here. The answer to this question is option A, which is Drupal. So, MookIT is a lightweight MOOC management system conceived, designed and developed by, so this is an important point that you are supposed to jot down. MookIT is developed by IIT Kanpur. So, it is a subdivision, right? It's a management system of MOOC, massive online open courses ka. This is the management system which is there, right? It is an open source management software, has been used in more than 60 courses so far in India and abroad, correct? So it is being used not only nationally but internationally or globally as well. It is a system that instructors, learners and system administrators find easy to work with because it is designed for internet novices, which means that a person who does not even know how to operate internet using internet, they can also use these courses. So a little information, a little effort on your part is required when it comes to this very platform of MookIT. Its unique architecture makes it highly customizable, so you can customize it according to your own needs, and cost effective at any scale. So it is basically affordable as well. This platform is affordable as well. The CMS component is operable using the Drupal content management framework. Is a free. So now we are talking about Drupal, which comes under the MookIT platform, right? And it is what? Open source and free software, right? Free libre open source software that enables user to organize and upload content to a database or server so that an interaction can happen and everybody is getting the access to one thing or the other through this very platform to education, to the higher education front. Hence, the MookIT platform uses Drupal, which is an open source content management system which is there. Then we have JOOMLA, correct? These were the other options which were there in the question which should be discussed by us. JOOMLA, sometimes also called J with an exclamation mark. It is also a free and open content management system, but for publishing web content on websites. Here it is just for the MookIT platform because they asked us about the MookIT part. But if we see JOOMLA, yes, it is an open source software which is there, but for publishing web content on website. So you need to be the person who is placing, who is using content, who is altering the content on the websites which are there, or publishing the content. Then we have SAKAI, is an educational software platform designed to support teaching, research and collaboration. So these are the three basic features of the program named SAKAI, of the educational software named SAKAI. It facilitates document distribution, discussion, live chat, assignment uploads and online testing. So these are certain more features which are related to a software. So through the usage of SAKAI, you can distribute the documents, the PDFs of the lectures that you have. You can discuss with your students, live chat could be done, assignment uploads and tests can be taken through the usage of SAKAI. And MOODLE is a free and open learning software written in PHP. This is a language, right? So you can write down the full form by commenting down below, because we are doing ICT and you should be knowing the full form of this very abbreviation, right? Distributed under the GNU, which is also the general public license. So basically these were the things that we were supposed to do. These were the 4 other platforms out of which we had certain open learning softwares, open source learning softwares, right? But if we talk about the MookIT platform, it is Drupal which is used, right? So we will be moving forward with certain more concepts in another videos. Till then, keep on studying, keep on smiling. I will see you again. Thank you so much.